Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. We're just a few minutes away from beginning our celebration of life. I would like to do just a few housekeeping rules, and that is for anybody who is carrying a cell phone, if you'd please take the time to either mute it, turn it off, or put it on airplane mode. And for those of you that are standing, if you could just find yourselves a seat. If you have your back to me, please feel free to pivot your chairs around so that you're not crooking your neck. We want this to be a very comfortable and memorable time. Thank you. As we begin our celebration of life for Hans, we're about to hear some music from the Richard Eaton Singers, and I ask that you open your hearts to receive the beautiful gift of song that we're about to receive, and think of those beautiful moments that you have shared with Hans in your time with him.
Oh
What a beautiful tribute that we've just received. Hello, everyone, and welcome. A celebration of life brings family and friends together to remember and to honor the person who has shared a life with us. And today, we come together with love and appreciation for Hans Forbrich. When I look around the room, I see that this room holds the heart of people who Hans loved deeply and cared about. And this room also holds the hearts of people who loved and cared deeply about Hans. Together, we will remember how genuine and how good-hearted he was, as well as remember the love and the laughter and that happiness that he has brought into each of our lives. My name is Connie Kabilko, and it is a privilege to be with you here today as your celebrant. And during our time together, we will celebrate a man who created so many wonderful experiences, and he designed the many memories that we hold within our heart. Hans had an infectious smile, one that absolutely lit up the room. He was a genuine man with a huge heart, and he gave of himself wholeheartedly, always putting the needs of others first, and he did so all throughout his life. To say that you are missing Hans immensely are words truer than true. This day, I know, is very difficult for his family, because in that, it probably feels like we're reopening a wound that is still too fresh to begin healing. Hans will forever be in the heart of his family, and they hold him there dearly. And by sharing stories of Hans and remembering all the moments that you have shared together, he will continue to be a part of all of us. And to Hans's family, to all of you who are present, I extend my deepest condolences at this time. Now, some of you have come here knowing Hans and just about everything about him, including his family and all of his friends. But some of you have only had that incredible connection with him and may have only heard of his family, because I know he talked about them often. And before we continue on in our celebration, I would just like to do a brief introduction of his family so that you can feel from your heart to theirs the beautiful energy that is here in this room. And at this time, I'd like to introduce his wife, Suzanne. His daughter, Karis, is here with her husband, Aaron. His son, Chris, and his wife, Courtney, are here. His son, Alex, could not be with us today, but we have grandchildren as well that should be mentioned. Trinity and Drew, Fen and Casey and Karsten. We have Hans's sister, Angelica, and her husband, Ray, and as well his brother, Alfred. And I know that I can deeply express from their hearts to yours how important it is to have you here. You are so much a very big part of Hans's life, and you have been very much a part of their life, whether directly and indirectly. And on behalf of the family, I thank you for being here. Let's continue on with our life celebration today with a ceremony that holds so much symbolism and meaning as we reflect upon Hans's life with us. We will be lighting a candle so that Hans's light continues to shine within us and to feel his presence deep within our hearts during our time today. And at this time, I would like to invite Karis and Chris to come forward to do the lighting.
It's not as deep as I thought it was.
Well done. Thank you. Hans has been the light in our days, walking alongside us, guiding us as a husband and a father and a grandfather. And he's been filling our days with laughter and with song. He had a way of making all of our days brighter. Therefore, it is really fitting that he is present with us, filling our hearts with his wonderful qualities and all the love that you have shared amongst one another. Without a doubt, you know that Hans made a difference in our days, and you're feeling his absence. He cast such a large shadow in a room. There's a lot to miss. And life is much different without Hans sharing it with us. His passing has left a space in our lives, a space that only Hans could fill, and he will continue to be greatly missed by us all. Now, when you think of Hans, his many gifts in life were his warmth, gentleness, generosity of spirit. And we definitely can add a dash or two of his playfulness because he was fun-loving, as he loved being Opa, or grandfather, who played with his grandchildren, and he spoiled them immensely. And you know, what a gift to hear. Hans had a distinct voice, one that was rich, one that filled your heart, not only with his love and his laughter, his words of expression, but also he filled your heart with his song, with that beautiful voice. He had a vibrant personality, and he could talk to absolutely anyone and anywhere. He just had a warmth and an ease to be with. And now Chris shared, sometimes as a kid it wasn't always easy having a dad who could talk to everybody, because quite often you sat and waited and waited and waited until dad was done before you could move on in your day. But what a beautiful trait to have. And as we continue on with our life celebration, we will be hearing a reflection as we celebrate Hans. And it really is such a beautiful way to give depth to the purpose that he has had and the impact that he has had on each of us. And at this time, I invite Courtney to come forward to read a tribute that has been prepared by Suzanne.
Okay, bear with me. I'm extremely nervous at the moment. There is a lot of you. Hello, everyone. On behalf of Suzanne and the family, I would like to thank everyone for being here with us to celebrate the life of someone who's very special to all of us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Courtney, and I have the wonderful privilege of being Hans and Suzanne's daughter-in-law, married to their oldest son, Chris, and mother of their two youngest grandchildren. I am up here today to tell you all a little more about Hans and the wonderful life he lived. On February 1st, 1955, in Regina, Saskatchewan, Paul and Freegard Forbrich welcomed their son, Hans Greg Paul Forbrich, to the world. He was their first child, eventually becoming older brother to a brother Alfred and a sister Angelica. As his parents had just moved to Canada as refugees from East Germany, Hans's first language was German, and he did not learn English till he was 4 years old. Hans spent his childhood growing up in Regina until he was 14. Then, in 1969, the family of 5 moved to Calgary, Alberta. In Calgary, he attended Lord Beaverbrook High School, where he graduated at the age of 16. After high school, he went to the University of Calgary, where he got his Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering, graduating in 1979. After graduating from his degree program, he worked for a company in Houston as a power engineer for a little while, which allowed him to spend some time in Tunisia, Africa. Then he got a job with Northern Telecom, nowadays known as Nortel, in Calgary, helping design the first digital telephone switches in Alberta, which was a little ironic because it took him 3 years to pass the telecommunications class in university. On October 31st, 1981, in a small private ceremony, he married Suzanne Browse and moved to Edmonton, where Suzanne was living and going to school. They lived with 2 cats in a 4-plex in Riverbend till 1983, when they moved to Toronto, at the time expecting their first child. They bought a townhouse in Brampton, Ontario, where they started their family with their first son, Christopher, and 5 years later, their second son, Alexander. In Ontario, Hans took on the role of primary parent to the boys while Suzanne was working shift work as a meteorologist. He was a great father. In 1991, the family of 4 moved back to Alberta, settling down in St. Albert in their Willowbrook home where Suzanne still lives. In St. Albert, he continued to spend a lot of time taking care of their 2 sons, including volunteering as a cub leader with Scouts Canada and eventually taking on the volunteer role as a trainer for new leaders. At the same time, in 1991, when the family was settling down in St. Albert, Hans resigned from Nortel and took a remote job with a small company in Quebec called DLGL Lte, specializing in human resources databases. He was their token Anglophone and had to spend 1 week a month in Laval, Quebec. This was the beginning of a lot of work travel for the next 25 years. After 5 years with DLGL, Hans left and took a job with Oracle as a pre-sales technical consultant in the telecommunications vertical. Then after several years of continuing to expand his Oracle knowledge, Hans set up his own consulting firm called Forbrich Consulting Limited in 2003. He specialized in Oracle products and primarily worked as a contract instructor with Exit Certified, teaching in many cities across Canada and the United States. He was considered one of the top experts in Oracle databases in the world and was recognized as an Oracle ACE. By 2007, he was an ACE Oracle Director. This meant he spoke at many Oracle conferences around the world, including in Birmingham, England, Nuremberg, Germany, San Francisco, the US, a speaking tour in India, and 2 speaking tours in several South American countries. Due to health reasons, he stepped back from his consulting firm and rejoined Oracle in 2015 as Senior Principal Curriculum Developer, which he did till his retirement in January of 2019, just before his 64th birthday. While becoming an expert in Oracle, Hans was also taking time for one of his passions, music. He started taking singing lessons in 2001 with Ron Nelson, which was the start of an extensive musical journey. After a couple years of singing lessons, he joined the Edmonton Opera Chorus in 2003, with his first opera being Puccini's Turandot. He spent 2 months in Ottawa singing in the Opera Lyra chorus for Offenbach's Tales of Hoffmann. Hans loved to learn in work and in his music, so he spent a month at the Banff Centre Opera Theatre program singing in Estasio's Philomena and participating in the Opera Nuova intensive training program singing in Smetana's Prodana Nevesta. He sang in many operas over the years. Sorry if I butchered that. Anyone from the opera? He sang in many operas over the years, including in 2016 when he participated in his first of many Pop Goes the Opera at the Edmonton Fringe. Finally, in February 2023, he achieved what he had been working towards for over 20 years. He sang the role of Sir Gualtero Raleigh in Donizetti's Roberto Devereux with CLM Productions at Festival Place in Sherwood Park. On top of his broad opera career, Hans also joined the Richard Eaton Singers Choir in 2017. He performed many concerts with them over the years. He also continued his singing lessons on and off over the years with a couple of different teachers. Finally, Hans's biggest passion in life was his family. He raised his 2 sons with Suzanne, and in 2010 was able to reconnect with his daughter, Karis. This gave him the chance to get to know Karis as well as his grandchildren, Trinity and Fen. Over the years, their relationship deepened, and he was so very proud to be her father and their grandfather. In 2015, his family became a little bit bigger when he welcomed me with open arms when I married Chris. Then even bigger when we welcomed our sons, Casey and Karsten, in 2016 and 2018. He loved the 2 of them with his whole being and was a fabulous Opa, often babysitting, taking the kids for Opa playdates, and making them Opa pancakes, known to most as French toast, on Sundays. In April of 2023, Hans was diagnosed with late stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and after a much too short but hard-fought battle, he passed at the St. Albert Sturgeon Hospital on July 14, 2023. His final resting place is at the Penticton Lakeview Cemetery, where he joins his mom, dad, grandmother, and aunts. He was beloved by many and will be missed terribly, but he had a full, well-lived life with much laughter, love, and happiness.
Thank you so much, Suzanne and Courtney, for putting that together. And Courtney, for you to say all those words, wow, I'm in awe. Thank you. It would not have sounded the same had I shared that with you. How does one move forward when all you want to do is go back in time so that today, days like today, don't even exist? And I wish with all my heart that I had the power to do that for your family. Remembering is the way to help heal a heart. And remembering is what takes us back to all those moments that we've shared together. And Hans has left you with so many to recount upon. It would take you days, weeks, months, and years, and I know that you know that. He filled your heart and your minds with so many incredible moments. And the journey with him has been nothing short of amazing. A family is made strong through love, and family meant the world to Hans. And it was being with his family that really did complete his beautiful purpose in life. He loved being a husband, a father, and Opa. And the love story began when a young girl had a crush on the guy next door. The guy next door was Hans. Now, they didn't date right away because she was, the little girl next door. But if we move the clock forward, there was one night, after taking the girl next door out for a New Year's Eve dinner, a proposal happened that very evening. And that magic moment grew and blossomed over their 41 years of marriage. Proud moments continued not only as parents, but as grandparents as the family continued to grow in size. And if there was something that his grandchildren were interested in, you can rest assured Hans would have either placed that Amazon order or he would have found that item of interest in a store, and it would be in your hands or on your doorstep in no time. He was just that kind of guy. Whatever his family needed, he brought forward, and then some. He was the techie, not so much the tinkerer. Although if you needed someone with the tools, he had all the tools. But he certainly was that computer guy in his family and could often be called upon for computer support. He loved every interaction that he had with his family, and the Sunday brunches were always the family favorite and one to look forward to, especially for the Opa pancakes, otherwise known as French toast. Now, there have been earlier versions of pancakes that included buckwheat, but you'll have to ask the family about that one. Now, love is the most secure feeling in the world, and you all have hearts full of Hans's love. Everyone had a special place in his heart, and each of you, every one of you, no matter how big or how small, every moment with Hans, you filled his heart with love. You filled his heart with gratitude. And most of all, you filled him with great pride for the moments that you have shared. Time shared with you, no matter how big or how simple, those moments with Hans were his best moments, and he truly was a happy man. We're never ready to let go of those that we love, and life does not prepare us for the journey once they are gone. And the sadness and the heartbreak that you're experiencing, it can't be measured. And I've tried with all my heart with my losses to try to describe it in words, and there are no words. A broken heart is something that you feel. It's something that you feel with your heart, and it's something that you feel emotionally. And I know that the family and all of you are feeling that. A heart that feels broken is a heart that has been loved. And Hans loved you and cared about you with the depth of his heart. You all had such a special place in Hans's life. And there's no doubt that he knew how much he was loved and cared for. And there's so many emotions that I know you're feeling from day to day, from minute to minute, because they change from minute to minute and day to day. But the one thing that will never change is that endless love that you have for Hans. Time does not change that, and nor does it dim the memories that we have of those that we love. You will always carry your love for Hans in your heart. He chose the closest place to nest in, and that's your heart, so that there, every day, you could carry him forward. And you will always feel the love that you've had and the love that he has had for you. Very soon we will be concluding our time together, and I certainly would like to take this opportunity to thank Hans's family for inviting me to walk beside you and to be a part of your family's journey. My heart truly goes out to you and the family. This has not been an easy journey. And to honor someone twice is very difficult. There's no question about that. But I hope that you see the beautiful community of family and friends and all of that warmth and support that surrounds you. This is truly a time when people should not journey alone, especially when they are grieving. And I thank all of you for your beautiful presence in being here today. Thank you to the care staff at Connolly McKinley Funeral Home for their gentle and compassionate care of Hans's family, but for inviting and welcoming all of us here into the reception center today. A heartfelt thank you for all of those that are taking part in musical tributes today. Those that we heard earlier and those yet to come are sharing a gift from the heart. And that is a gift that Hans has shared with many as well too. And what a beautiful tribute you're providing. At the conclusion of the service, the family invites you to stay, to continue on for a time of gathering, late refreshments, and sharing some stories of Hans. I know that he has left you with so many stories, and I encourage you to share at least one Hans story with one another and keep that memory of him alive and keep his journey going. The video tribute is something that has been so heartfully created by Courtney. And I certainly would like to thank Courtney on behalf of the family for her contributions, because you really have invested your heart to someone who's meant so much to you, and we thank you for all of your time and efforts. There is a guest book to sign, and if you haven't had that opportunity to do so, I encourage you to sign it. And as well, there's some sheets that are left on your tables, and they are a reference to the various operas to which Hans has taken part in, as well as the many heartfelt words from family and friends that have been expressed to the family. And so you're encouraged to read those and share them with one another. Perhaps some of them are your words. In closing, I'd like to share these words with you. It may feel like every moment with Hans was not enough, and he will be greatly missed by all. But even though Hans is physically gone, his presence is forever deep within us. He left a huge presence behind, bigger than his absence. And love is like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. And that's what love is all about. It's feeling. And you all have a heart that is full of Hans's love. In the days ahead, it'll be those little things that you remember. His voice, his incredible smile, and that signature rich, hearty laugh of his. But most of all, remember the warmth of his hugs and those deep, warm eyes that held the depth of his love for you. They really were the window to his heart, and he made you feel loved in a way that words fail to describe. So as we conclude our time together, I wish each one of you comfort for your sorrow. I wish you courage for each new day. I wish you strength to face this journey, and I wish you all much peace to fill your heart. And at this time, I invite the Edmonton Opera Chorus to share a beautiful performance with us. Music has a way of moving us from our head to our heart. And as a tribute to Hans, they're going to move us to our hearts. our formal portion of the life celebration for Hans. Again, on behalf of the family, I thank you so much for being here today, for all of your words of support, for your care, for your compassion. It truly, truly has touched the family in such a beautiful way. And I hope that you continue to reach out to them so that they know that they are beautifully guided throughout this journey in life. There will be some beverage served in addition to some light food. And again, I encourage all of you to share as many Hans stories as possible. I wish all of you truly all the best in your day and peace and comfort ahead. Thank you.